Step back to the 1990s cafeteria with 9 lunches that defined a generation. From the legendary rectangular pizza to sloppy joes that lived up to their name, plus chicken nuggets, tater tots, and fish sticks Friday. You'll also see corn dogs on a stick, hamburgers on paper-thin buns, nachos with fluorescent cheese, and the chocolate milk that felt like dessert. Join us as we relive the flavors, chaos, and nostalgia that these lunches still conjure. 1. The legendary rectangular pizza. Every slice looked the same, whether you were in elementary school or high school, in Maine or California. That uniformity made it oddly comforting. You knew exactly what you were getting every time rectangular pizza slice day rolled around. This wasn't your neighborhood Italian joint's crispy masterpiece. It was something entirely different and somehow magical. It had a faintly oregano-laced tomato sauce, stretchy cheese that cooled into a firm sheet, and a spongy crust capable of soaking up all the grease. If you were lucky, your cafeteria served it with a side of buttered corn and a carton of chocolate milk, a pairing that somehow worked. Kids would actually get excited for Pizza Friday, which tells you everything about the power of these mysterious rectangles. 2. Sloppy joes that lived up to their name. Anyone who came home from school on Sloppy Joe's day without a stain on their shirt was doing it wrong. Sloppy joes were probably the messiest of all school cafeteria meals in the 1980s and 1990s, but that was all part of the fun. These weren't exactly gourmet cuisine, but man, were they memorable. The recipe given to school cafeterias to cook in the 80s and 90s had a sauce made from fresh onions, garlic powder, ketchup, tomato paste, water, vinegar, brown sugar, and seasonings. The result was a sweet, tangy mess that somehow tasted better when eaten off a plastic tray in a noisy cafeteria. You'd need about 3 napkins minimum and maybe some backup clothes in your locker, but nobody seemed to mind the chaos. 3. Chicken nuggets and the golden crispy dream. Chicken nuggets, cheeseburgers, and rectangular pizza slices were always on the menu, along with chocolate pudding, Jell-O, and sliced fruit drenched in syrup. Those nuggets weren't just food, they were little golden promises of happiness on your lunch tray. Kids could count on them being crispy on the outside and mysteriously uniform on the inside. The beauty of cafeteria chicken nuggets was their reliability. They might not have been made from the finest ingredients, but they delivered exactly what every kid wanted. Something that tasted familiar, wasn't too spicy, and paired perfectly with whatever sauce packets were available. Whether you dunked them in ketchup, honey mustard, or ate them plain, they were comfort food in bite-sized form. 4. Tater tots, the ultimate side dish. It's possible your school used French fries instead of tater tots, but I clearly remember my classmates losing it in line when we heard it was Tater Tots Day, so I'd say it's pretty clear that it's the tots that left the lifelong impact. In the United States, tater tots are common at school lunch counters and cafeterias. These little cylinders of fried potato perfection were basically edible gold to 90s kids. There was something deeply satisfying about biting into a tater tot and getting that perfect contrast between the crispy exterior and fluffy potato interior. They were the ultimate comfort side dish, and honestly, they made even the most questionable main courses seem appealing. Kids would trade other parts of their lunch just to get extra tots from their friends. 5. Fish sticks Friday. I definitely remember Fish Stick Friday. I just never actually managed to convince myself to eat said fish sticks. But plenty of other kids did. These golden brown rectangles of breaded fish were a weekly tradition in many schools across America during the 90s. Friday may be the day of the week when you'll get fish sticks. These breaded rectangles of fish are golden brown on the outside and mysterious on the inside. It's a good thing they come in little packets of tartar sauce, which is actually mayonnaise with pickle relish. Whether you loved them or avoided them completely, Fish Stick Friday was definitely a thing that defined the decade's school lunch experience. 6. Corn dogs on a stick. Remember when corn dogs came on real wooden sticks that you could use as tiny swords afterward? Before choking hazard paranoia took over, cafeterias served proper corn dogs, hot dogs dipped in cornmeal batter, fried until golden, and impaled on wooden sticks that kids inevitably turned into impromptu drumsticks or weapons. The wooden stick was part of the experience. You'd eat the corn dog, then use the stick to poke at your other food or annoy your tablemates. Current cafeterias serve corn dog bites, or stick-free versions that remove much of the fun and structural integrity. It wasn't just about the food, it was about having a tiny wooden sword to play with after lunch was over. 7. Hamburgers on paper-thin buns. Before the shift to whole grain took over, the quintessential cafeteria hamburger came on soft, white hamburger buns that compressed to paper-thin under the weight of the meat patty. These buns were basically edible napkins. They absorbed grease, fell apart easily, and had the structural integrity of wet tissue paper. The meat patty, often a solid, overcooked disc, could also appear as a crumbly, mysterious scoop that helped balance the texture. Either way, it required a full carton of milk to wash down. These hamburgers were definitely not gourmet, but they served their purpose as filling, familiar food that most kids would actually eat without too much complaining. 8. Nachos with fluorescent cheese. Okay. Literally everyone remembers eating those round tortilla chips covered in gooey cheese sauce, right? At my school, nachos didn't come with any additional toppings, like meat or vegetables, so it was just melted cheese and chips. None of us complained. That bright orange cheese sauce was definitely not natural, but it was absolutely delicious. The beauty of cafeteria nachos was their simplicity. No fancy toppings, no complex flavors, just crispy chips drowning in that artificial but somehow perfect cheese sauce. Kids would carefully navigate their plastic spoons to get the perfect chip-to-cheese ratio, and somehow that fluorescent orange goop became the gold standard for what nachos should taste like. 9. Chocolate milk, the liquid dessert. While regular milk was fine, chocolate milk was liquid gold. I remember these being an option, along with milk, every single day at school. These juice cups, in my memory, were always filled with apple juice and sometimes came frozen. But chocolate milk was the real prize that made every lunch feel like a treat. Getting chocolate milk felt like winning the lunch lottery. It was sweet enough to feel like dessert but still counted as part of your nutritionally balanced meal. Kids would save it for last, using it to wash down whatever mystery meat or vegetable medley they'd been served. That little carton of chocolate happiness could make even the most questionable cafeteria meal seem worthwhile, and frankly, it probably kept a lot of kids from going hungry when the main course wasn't quite hitting the mark. These 9 school lunch staples weren't just food, they were shared cultural experiences that connected kids across America. Sure, they might not have been the healthiest options, but they created memories that last a lifetime. Every 90s kid has their own cafeteria war stories, whether it's trading tots for pizza crusts or trying to figure out what exactly was in those chicken nuggets. These meals shaped our understanding of what school lunch should be, for better or worse, and honestly, there's something kind of beautiful about that shared experience. Did you expect all these foods to bring back so many memories?